So in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to make the most out of Zoom lecture. And if you've seen my previous videos, I'm not the biggest fan of going to Zoom lecture. I think it's a big waste of time. And if you really want to, you could rewatch the lectures later if participation isn't required in your grade. But if you really need to go to Zoom lecture, you can't live without it, and let's say participation is 20% of your grade, then this is how you make the most out of lecture. And my philosophy for lecture is we shouldn't be seeing something we haven't seen before. It is so important. Before lecture, you watch the pre-lecture if they have it, or you pre-read the assigned readings. It is so important, especially now during Zoom lecture, where it's less interactive and it's not nearly as good as in-person lecture. You have to come extremely prepared, because we all know, right? If we've seen something before, we are more likely to learn it again, and we can repetize that material and we'll be better for it. But if we're learning something for the first time during lecture, especially Zoom lecture, you are going to be lost, you are going to be frustrated, and it's going to be a waste of your time. So the first thing I want you guys to do is to pre-read. Pre-read those assigned pages that they have on the syllabus. The teacher didn't just put that just to be all willy-nilly and to say, oh yeah, read that if you want. No. Go through the syllabus, look what you need to pre-read before lecture. Because if you already seen the material in lecture, you're going to remember it more, you're going to be more engaged, and you're going to feel good about yourself because you're not going to feel lost, right? When you do your pre-reading, what should you do? You should come with questions of things you didn't understand during lecture. This is not generic advice. Oh, raise your hand if you don't get something during lecture. You probably don't get the whole lecture, so you feel lost. You don't want to look like an idiot. But if you do pre-reading and you come with questions that you had on the pre-reading and the professor didn't cover it or didn't cover it well, then you could ask those questions. Again, you're being more engaged in lecture. You're not just watching it, laying back and wishing for the whole thing to be over. You're coming with questions from your pre-reading of things you didn't necessarily understand. That is so important. Lastly, fill in your notes. When you pre-read, it is not good enough to just read and never look at it. You need to be taking notes, right? The whole point of lecture is for the teacher to synthesize the textbook in a way that's palatable to you. So you need to pre-read, and then you need to take notes. You take notes. I had a million note videos go through my feed, but when you take notes, when you're going through his lecture, then you just have to fill it in, or you can follow along with your notes. This is so important. You shouldn't be taking all the notes on his PowerPoint slides during lecture. It's going to take forever. You're going to be lost. But if you come with notes that you've already made from your pre-reading, you're going to be able to follow along and then just fill them in with things that weren't covered in the pre-reading that he covered in lecture. So if you follow all of these 3 steps, most importantly is the pre-reading. Come with questions and then fill in your notes from your pre-reading. You're going to be more engaged in lecture. You're going to learn more from lecture, and you're going to be a more confident student because of it.